Hey, Jordan with the Young Turks, TYT Politics. Hope you're having a nice day. Is something going on in the news? It seems like a really boring day or a boring week. I feel like, I don't know, I'm not really seeing much interesting stuff on TV or online, so, very interesting. Of course, the media has lost its goddamn mind over the firing of FBI Director James Comey. I was criticized that I didn't come online immediately to talk about this. However, I've been working on stories that are kind of, I think, actually important. I've been working on a long piece on the arrests in Flint of the 6 residents that were arrested 3 weeks ago tomorrow. That piece will be going up on the Young Turks Medium page today or tomorrow. I'll have a video that will go along with that piece. I've also been working on a story about a nuclear waste site in St. Louis area. I put up a video this morning. I interviewed 2 mothers in the St. Louis area. This nuclear waste site is literally very, very close to an underground fire. The EPA, shocker, has not done thorough testing. So this nuclear waste site, we don't know how close it is to this underground fire. The underground fire is because of methane and other chemicals that are bustling underground. So essentially, there's a nuclear waste site about to collide with a fire, and if it does collide, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? So I've been working on a lot of things. I'm going to tell you what the firing of James Comey is about, what I think it's about, what I think it's not about. I don't really have like Russia derangement syndrome like the rest of the media. I don't particularly have Comey derangement syndrome. I think it's a story that the president fired the FBI director. I don't think it's the biggest story. I don't think it should be covered 24/7, but it's a story. So, Trump fires Comey. Now, let's also point out, Trump, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, came out and said, gave an endorsement of the FBI director and said, I think he's doing a good job. So, Trump fired Comey after 3 weeks ago saying, I think he's doing a good job. So something has happened in those 3 weeks that Trump wanted to fire the man. Because the reasons that were given to fire the man relate back to how he handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation and other things. Well, if you didn't like how he handled the Hillary Clinton investigation, you could have just fired him right when you became president. So something don't smell right there. Something don't smell right. If 3 weeks ago, and again, I might be off on the date, but it was very recent. It was 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Trump came out and said, I endorse Comey. I think he's doing a good job. And 3 weeks later, he's fired. And today he said, well, he was just doing a bad job. I don't know. Seems like something happened in those 3 weeks. Now, I'm not like the rest of the media. I don't think that President Trump firing James Comey, the smoking gun is here. We found collusion that Russia and the Trump campaign did this evil plot and colluded and hacked the election, and we gotta just throw him out of office, put Hillary in. No. I'm not Comey old-fashioned. I join folks like Glenn Greenwald. I join folks like Michael Tracy. I join folks that require concrete evidence to basically charge treason. I mean, if it were true that the Trump campaign worked with the Russian government to hack the election, that's treason. So I require evidence, because last time we didn't require evidence for what unnamed government officials told us. We went to Iraq, went to Libya, the drone program, and on and on and on. And now, who knows, maybe Syria next. And now Trump's talking about doing more in terms of Afghanistan. So, although I don't think Trump firing Comey means slam dunk, there's evidence of collusion. And that's the difference between me and I. I don't believe in groupthink. I don't believe in lazy journalism. So you look at CNN, MSNBC, all these folks, the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of them. They have jumped to that conclusion that, oh my God, Trump fired him. We got it. Or as Bush said, we got him, folks. We got him. Mission accomplished. No, we don't got him. Until I see evidence, and if, by the way, if they had direct, concrete evidence that anyone on the Trump campaign literally colluded, meaning colluded to work with WikiLeaks or anybody else to dispense information about Hillary Clinton, I think that information should have been dispensed. I praise WikiLeaks for what they did. I think it's dangerous when the government, including Comey, at his hearing last week, tries to suggest or label who is a journalist and who is not. Yeah, no, that don't work. However, although I don't think there's concrete evidence that this proves collusion, what I do think it indicates is something changed from 3 weeks ago or a month ago when Trump credited Jim Comey and now. As Emma did a video earlier on youtube.com/TYTpolitics, there's a story that just came out that Comey recently asked for more resources for the Russia investigation. Very recently. So if Comey was asking for more resources, which you'd have to think means more personnel, which costs money, and then he was fired, that screams of Donald Trump being an authoritarian. Now, does it necessarily mean that Comey was close to something or close to a smoking gun, or, he was about to uncover something and Trump, thinking like Richard Nixon, who, got rid of half of his staff near the end of the Watergate scandal, does that necessarily prove that? No. But it indicates Trump and Jeff Sessions, because the Department of Justice was involved in this, Trump did not want him sniffing around. Trump did not want him sniffing around. So, but there's also other things that it can mean. So, as the corporate media is salivating like fucking hyenas, oh my God, the smoking gun, collusion, it's like Rocky IV with Rocky and the Russian, and, the fake controversy and all that. Well, what if James Comey was finding some stuff about Trump's investments in Russia? What if it has nothing to do with the election? What if what James Comey, sometimes you do an investigation, maybe about possible collusion, but you find, wow, this guy's got a lot of investments in Russia. Oh, look at this shell corporation. Oh, look at this weird tax pattern. I know a lot of people have issues with TYT or Cenk, but Cenk has been saying this for a while, and I've agreed with him. To me, the real suspicion isn't about whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government to elect Trump. I don't think there's evidence of that. I never have, and I've disagreed with Cenk on that, and many from the Young Turks on that. I don't see the evidence. Do I think there might be some suspicion and evidence that Donald Trump, as a candidate and as president, was fairly nice to Putin and said very nice things and wanted to ease sanctions on Russia? Because maybe he still has personal investments in Russia? And by the way, it's not just Russia. There's questions about Donald Trump's investments in other countries and how it might influence his decisions as president. Do I think that might be something that James Comey or the FBI found information on that Trump doesn't want them to have information on? It's possible. And why is that important? I don't care. I don't really think that this proves anything about collusion. Hillary Clinton lost the election because she was a terrible candidate. There's nobody in Michigan. There's nobody in Wisconsin. There's nobody in Pennsylvania, Florida, that went into a polling booth and voted for Donald Trump or didn't vote for Hillary Clinton because, Vladimir Putin was standing behind me with a crowbar, or Vladimir Putin hacked the election booth. I mean, it's preposterous. It's preposterous. And by the way, I've spoken off the record, so I can't tell you, because journalism, if you say off the record, you got to be honest. I've spoken with off the record with some journalists and some pundits who on TV say, oh, Comey influenced the election and yada, yada, yada. But then when they're done playing their, role on TV, they're like, oh yeah, she was awful. So I'm not giving Hillary Clinton a pass. I'm not giving the corporate Democratic establishment a pass. I'm not running with this narrative. Oh my God, the election was colluded, and let's just say, get Trump out of there. We got to put Hillary in. No, she lost the election because she was corrupt. She lost the election because she's disconnected, because she's out of touch. She was a terrible candidate. And honestly, it wasn't just her. It was the entire Democratic Party that's disconnected. And they're still disconnected. And I have reported on that. I've said it over and over. You know, there's this sellout mentality brewing on our side that I think is dangerous. I don't think you're a sellout if you have a disagreement over an issue with somebody, another progressive. But what I think is, I'm a common sense person. So if President Trump came out 3 weeks to a month ago and complimented James Comey and said he's doing a good job, look it up, and then 3 weeks later he's doing a bad job and I'm firing him, something doesn't smell right there. Something's not right there. Nothing Jim Comey did over those 3 weeks to a month was out of the ordinary that would dramatically say, oh, he's doing a good job, now he's doing a bad job. The only thing that is different or happened in that time period is Comey asked for more resources to investigate the Trump's relationship with Russia. So, again, it's not a slam dunk that Comey was on to the smoking gun of collusion. Don't listen to the corporate media. But to me, hey, you know, I got a bridge to sell you if you don't think Comey was onto something. Trump's not going to fire the FBI director who he just complimented and endorsed a month ago if, number one, he doesn't want him investigating. Number two, he doesn't want to give additional resources so he could investigate? Hell no. And by the way, for the trolls out there, for the people who don't want to hear anything about this Russia stuff at all, let's be honest here, okay? I've told you what I think. I don't think this proves collusion. But to say that it's not a story that Trump is firing the FBI director after complimenting him, and after the FBI director just asked for more resources into the Russian investigation, let me ask you, if Hillary Clinton was president, right, and there was an investigation going on into the Clinton Foundation, and her people around Hillary Clinton associated with the Clinton Foundation, and the FBI was in charge of it, would you think it's not a story if Hillary Clinton fired the head of the FBI who's investigating the Clinton Foundation? You would be rioting in the streets. So spare me the bullshit that this isn't a story. It is a story. We can't have a different standard. We can't have a different standard for different people. You got to have the same standard, whether it fits your narrative in life or not. So if Hillary Clinton was president, she's not, and there was an investigation run by the FBI into the Clinton Foundation, and she fired the head of the FBI, give me a break. You'd be rioting, I'd be rioting. So, bottom line, everybody relax. Don't watch the corporate media. I'm here to give you it straight. There is no evidence yet that there was collusion. I don't think Michael Flynn proves there was collusion. I don't think certain people in the campaign talking to a Russian ambassador proves collusion. I mean, we gotta have brains. We gotta have a sensibility here. It takes a lot to prove treason. It takes a lot to prove that a campaign colluded with a foreign government to basically get that person elected and took actions to do that. I haven't seen it. Unnamed CIA officials feeding bullshit stories to their PR people at the New York Times. Journalists, I call them PR people. That's not smoking gun evidence. So, cable news could have a heart attack over this. The New York Times could have a heart attack over this. I'm not having a heart attack over this. I have a heart attack over a nuclear waste site being close to an underground fire in St. Louis and nobody knowing about it. Watch that video, it's up. I have a heart attack over 6 residents in Flint who have been lead poisoned, being manhandled, arrested. One of them had bruises across her whole arm, and the arrests and then the process after being very, very shady. That story is going to be going up on the Young Turks Medium page soon. I have a heart attack over there being no coverage of the DNC election lawsuit. I've interviewed the lawyer now 2 times over the past 2 weeks. Sure, there was the hubbubaloo over the weekend. I'm not getting into that anymore. About the lawsuit and a video I did and all that. I'm done with it. I've moved on. However, I focus on real stories. I focus on real injustice. I focus on real corruption. And this story has some corruption in it, so I will cover it. And Emma is right to cover it. And TYT Politics is right to cover it. But I will give you reason. I will give you context. I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear. So I think it's pretty suspicious that the President of the United States just fired the FBI director who's investigating his campaign and ties to Russia after a few weeks ago endorsing the FBI director. Something don't smell right, folks. Something don't smell right. So we'll stay on the story. As I told you, I'm working on other things. Please go to youtube.com/TYTpolitics. Watch that interview about the nuclear waste site close to that underground fire. Stay tuned for my additional reporting about Flint. Again, if you haven't checked out, the Young Turks has a page on Medium. We're doing more written articles there, so that story is going to be up there soon. And I'm working on some other things. So at Jordan Sheridan on Twitter. Thanks for watching. Take care.